Welcome, architects and developers. Today, we are diving deep into the foundational knowledge of Claude Code. Let's get started and transform how you build software. Let's kick things off with the core engine of Claude Code, the agentic loop. Unlike traditional chatbots where you copy and paste code, Claude Code lives directly in your terminal. When you give it a prompt, it doesn't just generate text, it acts. It gathers context, takes action by editing files or running commands, and verifies the results. This is powered by a strict control flow based on API signals. The loop continuously executes as long as the stop reason is tool use. It only stops when it receives an end-turn signal. A huge anti-pattern to avoid is trying to parse natural language like, "I am done" to end your loops. Rely entirely on the programmatic stop reason to ensure deterministic and reliable execution. Looking at this state diagram, you can visually trace the lifecycle of an agentic interaction. It begins with your prompt, which kicks off the internal loop. Claude gathers context, takes action, and verifies. The critical decision node is the check-stop reason. If Claude needs to run another tool, the loop cycles back. Only an end turn breaks the loop. Now that Claude is running, how does it know your team's coding standards? That is where the Claude.md hierarchy comes in. Think of it as an automated onboarding script for your AI. Instead of reminding Claude to use TypeScript strict mode every time you encode it. But location matters. Personal preferences, like terminal themes or editor bindings, belong in your user-level config in your home directory. Team-wide standards go in the project-level config, which you commit to version control. To avoid context window bloat, don't write a monolithic file. Instead, use directory-level scoping and modular rule files with glob patterns. This ensures Claude only loads testing conventions when it's actually editing a test file. This flowchart illustrates the overriding precedence of configurations. Directory and rule-level configs are the most specific and override project-level, which in turn overrides user-level. Notice how project files can cleanly import modular rule files, keeping your main context lean and incredibly efficient. Let's talk about execution strategy. When should Claude just write code, and when should it sit back and think? For simple, isolated bug fixes, direct execution is perfect. But for complex refactoring, you must use plan mode. Activated by hitting Shift+Tab, plan mode forces Claude to use read-only tools to explore your codebase, assess dependencies, and present a step-by-step strategy for your approval before a single line of code is altered. Using direct execution for architectural changes is a huge anti-pattern that leads to costly rework. For the highest quality outputs, pair plan mode with a TDD iteration cycle. Write the test first to define the goal, implement, verify, and refine. This decision tree guides your execution strategy. Assess the task complexity first. If it's a multi-file change, you route through plan mode, enforcing read-only exploration and user approval. Both paths ultimately converge into a disciplined TDD iteration cycle for implementation and verification. To truly scale Claude Code across your team, you need custom commands and skills. A / command is great for quick, in-session shortcuts like typing /test. However, for complex, repeatable workflows, you need skills. Defined via a skill.md file with YAML formatter, skills allow you to teach Claude highly specific procedures, like how your company formats security audits. The superpower of skills lies in isolation and restriction. By adding context fork to the front matter, the skill runs in a sandbox subagent, keeping your main context window clean of exploration noise. Furthermore, using the allowed tools property ensures security by explicitly limiting Claude to safe tools like read and grep. Observe the routing process here. When a user makes a request, Claude checks if it matches a skill description. If it does and context fork is enabled, an entirely isolated subagent is spawned. This isolated branch strictly obeys the allowed tools limits, protecting your environment. Claude Code isn't blind. It interacts with your environment using precise built-in tools and the Model Context Protocol, or MCP. The built-in tools include read, write, edit, grep, glob, and bash. A highly tested concept is knowing the difference between write and edit. Edit alters specific lines in an existing file, while write completely overwrites the file. Using write for a small bug fix is a destructive anti-pattern. For external integrations, we use MCP servers to connect Claude to databases or issue trackers. When configuring your .mcp.json file for your team, never hardcode API keys. Always use environment variable expansion to securely pass secrets like $Jira token. This architecture diagram maps Claude Code's capabilities. On the left, built-in tools interact safely with your local file system. On the right, the MCP client acts as a secure bridge, reading the .mcp.json config and safely communicating with external systems like Postgres or Jira. Let's automate. Integrating Claude Code into your CI/CD pipelines transforms how your team ships software. To run Claude in an automated pipeline, you must use the P flag for non-interactive execution. Otherwise, the job will hang waiting for human input. To make the output usable by other scripts, enforce structure using the output format JSON flag alongside a defined JSON schema. A critical architectural rule here is context isolation. Never have Claude review its own code in the same session it generated it. The model retains reasoning bias. Finally, for asynchronous tasks like a nightly security audit, leverage the Message Batches API. It processes within 24 hours but yields a massive 50% cost savings. Follow the sequence diagram for a CI/CD code review. The pipeline invokes Claude Code with the P flag and requests JSON. Notice that this is explicitly a fresh session to avoid confirmation bias. Claude returns the structured JSON, which the pipeline parses and posts directly to the pull request. To bring this all together, consider a real-time use case, restructuring a monolithic application into microservices. You don't just start coding. You initiate plan mode to safely map out module dependencies using read-only tools. As you discover complex data flows, you spawn custom subagents using context fork to isolate verbose research and protect your main context window. When it is time to write code, you trigger a specialized refactoring skill equipped with strict, allowed tools limits to ensure safe editing. Finally, your automated CI/CD pipeline runs a fresh, non-interactive Claude session to provide an unbiased code review. This is how senior architects build reliable systems. Thank you for joining. I invite learners to like, subscribe, and visit quicktechie.com for premium certification prep, including Q&A banks, full ebooks, audiobooks, full-length training, and interview guides. This Gantt chart visualizes our real-time use case timeline. We start with discovery using plan mode and isolated subagents. Once mapped, we move to execution via tool-restricted skills. Finally, we conclude with validation, running unbiased reviews in the CI/CD pipeline. A perfect, structured migration.
Welcome to quicktechie.com. So just type in quicktechie.com here. Then you can go through the material which is provided by Quicktechie. So we have first of all video courses which you can go here and you can find the various video courses across the technologies as well as finance domain. So if you see in Microsoft, we have 8 programs currently running. Next, you can go through the ebooks available. So all the ebooks which are in PDF format today, and you can download this. So let me go through Microsoft certification ebooks. You can click on any of this and you can see this is the PDF available for you to download. So these are the premium ebook mostly available on quicktechie.com platform only. Now the second part is exam simulator. As we primarily focus on the all technology companies and finance domain certification preparation material. So this is company wide listed here and you can go through this. So let me go through the Microsoft one again. You can see this is all Microsoft related certification. AB 730 exam, if you open it, so you can see here this and all the practice papers are available here. Today we have 5 practice paper. So click on the first practice paper. It would load the questions. You can answer this question. This is way you can answer it and you can move to the next question. Now third material we wanted to highlight is an audiobook. So we started recently with the audiobooks as well, which you can listen on the go, and various technology wise ebooks are available. And at the last, this is our alumni. These people who are subscribing to our courses and this platform, they are all listed here. And at the end, I wanted to tell you, if you find any course or training or certification preparation material which you want to get us prepare for yourself, please put on the comment section. If you're watching on YouTube, on Udemy, or on this platform itself, quicktechie.com, then please put the comment, or you can even send an email to using this contact us options here. You can directly do the WhatsApp message. You can call us on this numbers as well.